So before we go into today's meditation, I want to just remind you that as we're working with this program of self-sabotage, the self-sabotaging energies and programs that get embedded in our uniqueness and our invincibility chakras, I want to remind you that we are working with collective programming that has been passed down for centuries. So this is not just your program of self-sabotage. You received them from your parents or the people around you. They received them from their parents and the people around you. And it goes back all the way to when those first self-sabotaging programs came up, when lack entered the picture, and when we first believed we weren't enough or there wasn't enough. And so before we get started, I want you to tune into the origin. Just imagine taking your consciousness all the way back. Just close your eyes. Get into a space where you imagine light around you. And just set the intention for restoration. And then I want you to imagine that you are lifted above the earth. And see that you're looking at a timeline of the earth in a linear way. It's a line, past, present, future. And you're taking your consciousness all the way back to the source, right before lack programming took place, before it entered the human species. The place where we were before we believed in darkness, before we saw it or understood it, before we had the concept of contrast or the concept of lack or not enough. This is a space of pure bliss, just beingness. And I want you to imagine that in this space, you set up for yourself, knowing what you know now, knowing this program that's going to be implanted in the human consciousness and taken all the way to the present moment of who you are today. I want you to imagine that right here in this space, before the program happened, you set up a connection back to here. You set up a connection throughout the ages. You set up the intention that we will always come back here, that we will always find our way back. And you set up the perfect way. You just, through your inner knowing, through source, through the knowing that all things are possible, that there's an infinite amount of realities, just clear the pathway for restoration on the planet. And see the way that potential timeline moves out throughout all the history that you've just backed out through. See it go back forward, that new timeline of restoration, back forward and all the way back to your now. So connect to the past pre-program of lack and to the now, and feel the energy of restoration that has always been on the planet, that has always been working itself out. And in this moment, in this now, you fully receive that program. You remember that was always in place for you to wake up and to remember who you truly are, and to remember the state in which you came from, pure love, and the way that the source energy protects that life force within you. And now I want you to imagine that you're back in the garden where you've planted your original seed. And you see that sprout, you see the way it's grown since the last time you visited. And I want you to just feel that sense of protection of that space. Feel the vulnerability of it. And allow the earth to nurture it. The sunlight, the ground. Feel the way all the elements of the earth perfectly give life to all things. Now I want you to tune your consciousness back into your heart and into the synergy of your uniqueness chakra and your invincibility chakra. The synergy that goes on between your heart and those two areas, that first expression of you. And remember that this is your navigation system. This is the crux of your navigation. This is incredibly sensitive. The energy here is incredibly sensitive, and this represents your most unique and authentic energy signature. When you are clear here, your energy signature is absolutely perfect. But when we have lack programming here, our energy signature is muddled, and therefore we cannot access our spiritual bank account because we don't have the correct signature. This is the energy of lying to ourselves or lying to others. True freedom comes from absolute authenticity. And it is important that through this cleanse and throughout our lives, we give ourselves permission to feel. Hiding from how we feel, suppressing how we feel, ignoring how we feel out of fear that it will overtake us only serves to bury it deeper and activate the programs of lack further within us, stronger within us. In order to truly fine-tune our resonance of abundance, our algorithm of abundance, the signature, the frequency signature of heaven on earth within our electromagnetic field, this synergy must be clear. We must have a clear signal here. And that requires being authentic. We cannot lie. The universe knows when we're lying. It recognizes that something is off. And that is why it will not give you access to your spiritual bank account, because it doesn't recognize you. Because it knows that whatever signal you're sending out is not truly you. This synergy between your heart, your uniqueness chakra, and your invincibility chakra is your true essence. It cannot be faked. And so I want you to imagine fully tuning into it. And again, see that sphere of light around you, and you're in the beautiful garden, and this garden represents all that supports your growth, the growth of your soul, the expansion of your mind, and the healing and restoration on the planet. Feel yourself fully supported. And I want you to imagine that the light, the frequency of support and love, and all the elements you need to thrive, I want you to feel that frequency getting higher and higher and higher in your electromagnetic field. And as it gets higher, it brings out all the negative energy that's stored within your cellular structure. And it specifically brings forth the lack programming that has been embedded in your energy signature, that's been embedded in this synergy between your heart, your uniqueness, and your invincibility. So see that coming to the surface, and imagine it coming out of your body. And in its place, light fills your body. It fills that space where this energy is coming out. There's no void. It is full of light. Feel the energy of that. It may feel vulnerable. It may feel scary because it's a death of a perspective. But allow it to fully come out. And I want you to imagine that energy almost like black smoke. Black substance. It can be a tar-like substance that comes out of you. Imagine it in the palm of your hands. It's kind of swirling in the palm of your hands. And with your creative power, I want you to transform this black smoke or tar-like energy into a black stone. To turn it into a stone. It can be like a rune. And it has a symbol on this stone. And this symbol is known only to you and Source. So see this symbol on this stone. And then I want you to imbue this stone with pure light. And the encoded message in this light is understanding, compassion, forgiveness, love, and gratitude. This lack programming is what caused you to be able to experience the contrast and therefore master duality. Your soul longed and asked to be a master creator. And in order to do that, it had to understand contrast. And that is why appreciation is important when it comes to this lack programming. It is not our enemy. It's our teacher. And now I want you to imagine burying that stone and knowing that within it is the energy and potential, just like a seed. And you can see that watering can next to you that's made of golden sunlight with that rainbow iridescent water of heaven, spring of life, the wellspring of life. And I want you to water that seed. And I want you to know that as this seed germinates, as this stone dissolves and becomes one with the earth and then sprouts something for you, the thing that it's going to bring forth for you is the antidote to lack programming. All antidotes carry within them a little bit of the poison that it's meant to eradicate, almost like a vaccine. But this is filled with the purest energies. And I want you to put both of your hands above the dirt where you planted this and bless it. Imagine pure light, like a vibrant blue, an electric blue coming forth from the palms of your hand, from your life portals. And just allowing that whole area where you planted this to be surrounded in wisdom. Blue is the color of the mind. Pure wisdom. And later on in this cleanse, and as we move through the chakra cleanse, for those of you taking the chakra cleanse in the Spell of Astronomical Abundance class, we will revisit this. And we will, as it sprouts and blooms, we will partake of the antidote. And this is something you can visit anytime you feel lack programming coming up. You now have the antidote. And I want you to just bring your awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes and just sort of allow life and consciousness to come back to the present moment. And just feel the shift within you. And I want you to remember that as we're working with this deep programming, this collective programming, ancestral programming, that this is a tremendous amount of energy. And so drink lots of water. Don't be surprised if you feel emotional or energetically strange. Just have compassion. Do not identify with the thoughts that come up, especially any thoughts that are accusatory or critical or mean or put you under a microscope. Remember, we are learning to be cunning and recognize those programs. They are not us. They are not our master. So when you feel those, put it in its place and allow compassion to be the consciousness and the voice that you listen to. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. Your spirit is pure truth, pure love, pure understanding, pure goodness. And you get to choose which voice you listen to. No need to go to war, but activate the voice that is going to expand you the most. Do not listen to the voice of lack. So as you shift around in this energy, like I said, you may, depending on how your trauma has been on how those lack programming has been serving you in your survival, you may have a backlash. So just remember that it's okay if that happens. Come back to the garden, allow light to fill you up, and also bring your consciousness to the work that we're all doing. It's a very vulnerable process, and where I'm weak, you're strong, and where you're strong, I'm weak. And together, as we do this work, we are creating a strong, interdependent tribe vibe on the planet. Not codependent, interdependent, because we are all individually whole within the whole. And as we all get more empowered, we strengthen the whole. But we are meant to connect to our source for our strength. And the source will lead us to the right conversations, the right people, the right moments, the right things. And it is up to us to listen. Is this thing that I'm engaging in and thinking about or participating or putting in my body, is it bringing me more love? Is it bringing me expansion? Is it serving me? Or is it taking away from me? Is it taking my life force? And if it's taking it, why am I participating in it? How can I give myself something that gives back, that actually strengthens me? It's important to really look at this. And tomorrow, as we move into the, actually we're originally scheduled to have another pause day between our moving to the next chakras, but I'm going to tomorrow still move on. I'll send it a little later in the day. I just don't want to overwhelm you with information. But tomorrow we're going to be moving into the energy of the throat chakra and our solar plexus. So this is really channeling our personal will and our personal power and speaking our truth, clearing out our throat chakra so that we can speak the authentic truth of our tribe vibe. And so as we move into that, tomorrow will just be information just for you to start chewing on, and then we'll have a pause day and we'll do another meditation. So just allow yourself to take your time. I know we're moving through quickly, and this is something that's meant for you to go back to over and over if you want. And at the end of this class, all of the material will be moved to a ClickFunnels platform, so it'll be much easier to navigate. And for those of you who are only taking the 11-day detox, who are not in the Spell of Astronomical Abundance class, you can still purchase the chakra cleanse that's coming up next. Obviously, you're not going to be in the group, but these classes will always be available. So you can still take the chakra cleanse if you want, which the chakra cleanse, our next class that we're going into, is really about reprogramming the chakras and really programming every chakra according to our own tribe vibe navigation into abundance programming, to the lack matrix. So it's really fueling our energy from the inside out so that the universe brings us exactly what we need instead of trying to go after what we need. We're allowing it to come to us by shifting our resonance. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm sending a lot of love to you guys, a lot of compassion. Just like I said, be easy on yourself, but do not let that voice of lack to start in. Take control, take authority over your life, take authority over your mind, and don't let those twisted thoughts